We look with wonder at couples who have created long-lasting love. We marvel at their enduring fondness and their deep acceptance. But how have they arrived at this comfortable togetherness? We asked more than 40 long-loving couples the essential question of relationship. How are you there and present for each other over a lifetime? 6 remarkable couples who you will meet here today capture the key themes that emerged in our conversations.
They found ways to live with basic differences in rhythms, temperament, preferences, and worldviews. They faced adversity together, weathered storms, and repaired hurts. Answered hard questions, and through the messy push and pulls of life, they've gutted it out, stayed engaged, and continued to find each other. Through it all, they turned to one another, reaching for threads of love that sustain them, and have woven a relationship that each can count on, because they count on each other.
If you're young and at the beginning of your shared life, you may notice difficulties in bringing your worlds together. You might be afraid and cast shadows of doubt on your love.
Or perhaps you are further along in your life, facing the inevitable questions about how to keep your love strong, how to deepen the bond you share. We hope you'll find yourselves in these stories, being moved by the power of love to be present for each other.
We hope these stories will inspire you and help you sense a path toward your own beautiful, lifelong love story.
And my first thought was, when I first saw her, was, wow, this is going to be long term. So I didn't even know her name, and I just saw her. I was like, huh, okay, I think she's the one. It's gonna be long term.
My husband is an idiot savant who remembers every date and every number he's ever known, which is very helpful to me because I don't remember any of them.
I'm always glad to
This is
see
him.
her.
I'm
you
John.
know.
I just love you so much. You're so beautiful. You're my favorite. I just love every part of you.
And then that's gone by noon. No,
Right.
I'm just kidding.
I always like to mix with people. He is a quiet person. He likes to go to work, come home. He is making an effort to be more sociable than he used to be.
I think the way we handle it is we just keep at it until we get to a place that makes sense to both of us.
You fight with respect and you love with respect. That's what it is. That is so important. Don't fight dirty, and don't love, well, love, you can love any way you want behind closed doors, but.
What qualities in a relationship inspire lifelong passion? It might be knowing you can count on finding refuge in each other's arms when words can so easily obscure true intentions. It might be discovering each other over and over again and the pure intimacy of sharing pleasure. Perhaps in their sensuality, couples have the safety of being seen and fully known that permits the experience of making love as feeling love. Then there is the closeness embedded in ordinary moments as couples create their own rhythm, and how they navigate these everyday moments when each one has their own experience and they sometimes disappoint each other.
Do those moments deteriorate into blame and resentment? Or can partners somehow come together to understand where the other is coming from and make that matter most?
My name is Wendy Chang, and this is my husband,
David Lee.
David Lee.
I'm John Simmons. This is Cynthia, my wife.
My name is David Henry Olson. I was married to Kitsy on September 4, 1965.
I figure I'm not going to have to say too much.
I have better memory than him.
No. You may have better memories about it.
Maybe if we're starting at the beginning, you better start because you remember the year.
My name is Effie Gloser. I was born in 1953 in Israel.
I'm Miriam Gloser, 1954. Were we supposed to say that?
Yes, I'm proud of my wrinkles.
Me too.
David and I have been together, married for 50 years.
We've been married about 42 years.
We've been together for 30 years. 30 years of marriage.
And it's the 30 years that went pretty quick.
She keeps adding years as we go that aren't
I
there
always
yet.
forget the date. In my mind, it's yesterday or 100 years ago, depending on the day we're having.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's so good. Good? I think we are ready. Yeah. Where's some cocktail?
We do. I have actually really pretty ones for the ladies.
Excuse me, what do I know?
You just have pretty glasses.
Moving from America to Israel was very hard. You don't want to give up all your friends, you don't want to give up all your habits, all your social life. But then again, I did. But he would continue with his life. He would play bridge, he was in the army. And
Almost every night she was crying for the first 2 years, which was very, very hard.
You know, I was saying, this isn't what I'm signed up for. This isn't, you work all day.
I didn't get
you know?
it. I really didn't get it in the beginning.
Yeah.
I didn't. I don't know if it's a man thing, but I just
It's not just a man thing. It's couples. Couples do this. I mean, I'm not saying don't keep your hobbies and don't go off and with your friends. That's not what I'm saying. But you have to be sensitive to the other person.
I didn't understand the sacrifice that Miriam did for me. You know, we always loved each other. No, I don't think that there was ever a question about that. But she did a big sacrifice, and I didn't even get it. I had my friends. I was a very busy guy. It took me a while to really understand that, you know, I need to pay a lot more attention to her and to her needs, and just appreciate what she did. I really didn't get it in the beginning.
I actually didn't get it until now either. He's never expressed the word sacrifice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
People fear that reopening an old wound will tear the relationship apart. After all, if you're getting along okay, it seems safer not to risk the threads of connection you've got for the hope of something stronger or deeper.
It's more courageous to move toward your partner to repair a hurt. Maybe it's even a sacred thing to close the distance.
Famous first words. When we decided we loved each other and said as much. And he said, I love you. I completely love you, but you need to know there's one thing I love more, the most important thing to me. And I braced. He said, it's light. I said, okay, whatever. I can handle that, right? So I knew that he had something he loved more than me, more than anything. And he called it light, but it's his work. And I am totally down with someone having their work as being their purpose in the world. I'm no one's purpose except my own. And so I have always been inspired by that. And even though it was a challenge for me, I really took care of myself. That was my way of getting through the conflicted years, the years of, I'm not sure if this feels good, I'm not sure what to do, I'm not sure, but I'm sure I have to be okay. And I never stopped being okay. And he came along.
Yeah, it's still pretty much like that. I love my pictures, I love making pictures, and that's what I love, and Cynthia understands that.
And there's no parties with girls.
And there's no parties with girls,
No, it's done.
And, there's no drugs, and there's no staying up all night. I kind of burn that out. But, we've always been supportive of each other and also respectable of each other's growth. It's a relationship that is willing to accept a new person every morning, which is important. I don't know who I'll be at the end of the day, and I don't know who she'll be. Our experiences change us, but we always give each other the license to be able to grow like that. And during that period that Cynthia was talking about, work was quite sporadic. Now that's changed. I work all the time, and there's a certain amount of consistency in my life that wasn't there.
It's so much about pacing, and we do move in different ways.
We've got a lot of ground to cover. Will we know how to close the gap when we need to walk in step with each other?
And if not in step, will we be able to turn and find each other? So much depends on what the distance means to us.
We might have to look hard to find value in our different pacing. Might depend on our shared understanding that falling out of step may hurt us both a little.
All right, well, I was going to start out by saying what I thought the secret to a happy marriage is, just as an opening premise. Were you going to do the same thing?
I'm happy to make an opening statement. It's important that you have an idea about what life is, that it has a beginning and a middle and an end. And that way you never lose sight of the fact that after you're married, you're in the process of living your life. I've enjoyed my life with Kitsy. She's a lovely person, and I think she's beautiful. I tell her that every day. So that's a hell of an opening statement.
He's very accommodating. He's willing to go along with all my crazy ideas.
I think we've communicated well.
Well, we're having a little more trouble now because David's hard of hearing. And so communication has become more of a challenge.
In February of 2014, Kitsy was diagnosed with cancer of her breast. It did cause me to reassess the fact that she is a very important person in my life. And
he was very supportive through the whole thing. And David didn't get emotional or angry, he was just supportive. And you know, every third person in the world has breast cancer, it seems like. And most of them survive. And
she was diagnosed and she had the surgery, which involved her axilla, and
but that's not what they care about. They care about, you know, what was your reaction to it? What was my reaction to it?
My
Did it cause stress?
reaction to it was, you know, their facts of life need to be confronted, and this was a new fact. And I had thoughts about, you know, Kitsy's no longer, our marriage could be dissolved by death. So that was sobering.
I never thought that.
We didn't discuss that too much.
At all. I never thought that.
I wasn't at that time interested in extrapolating on that subject. So.
And I didn't think I was going to die.
And Kitsy is a positive thinker, so there's no sense in me discussing it, but you do have to confront reality.
It caused anxiety, it caused upset, it caused sleepless nights for me. But it never caused a problem between the two of us because we were in a partnership for this, together.
We find our togetherness in different ways and emerging from different rhythms. One couple might tell their story through the experiences of what they have shared together.
Another couple might tell the story of how they support each other's individual interests, and that's where they find their coupleness, and also where they find their togetherness.
To know that they have the confidence to be who they are uniquely. Their independence draws them together.
It takes real clarity and a united vision to live that rhythm.
My name is Feriel. I was born in Saudi Arabia, the holy city Mecca, Saudi Arabia.
My name is Walid, and I've been married to this young lady here for 42 years. We got married in 1975.
For a lovely 40 years. 42 years. Yeah, actually I met him in 1974 in London. When I met him, one of the things I saw about him, which is really attract me, as I understand, he's laid back. He's not the type who's gonna tell me what to do or not to do. He's not gonna ask me where I'm going, when I'm coming.
She's always been more of a take charge kind of person. I never thought I would actually meet somebody of my faith in England and be attracted to them.
I see he's very sincere, he's a straightforward person, he's loyal, he has some I don't like, the same thing with me. But what I think it make our marriage last is the commitment. We're committed to go with it. As I said, the devil you know better than the one you don't know. It's not an easy to change, because change is not a solution sometimes.
The best marriage is the one you got. You know, work on it and try to make the best out of it. We were married for 5 years before we had our first son. I remember there was some tension there because I think she wanted kids more than I did. So when we found out the problem was with me, okay, then there was some tension there. And then I felt, well, geez, you know, my whole marriage is going to collapse if I don't produce, if my little fellas aren't gonna swim fast enough, you know? It was troubling because I could see how much it affected her and how much she wanted it.
I don't think I blame you verbally or anything. It just say, okay, it wasn't from me, it was from him, and we just kept going on with our life, you know.
Yeah,
so
but I felt inadequate.
I think what happened is he's stubborn. And when he doesn't talk to me or he get upset, he goes silent. He can be silent for a month, 2 months.
Ooh,
yeah,
not that
he can,
long.
you know, it's silent for a while. So I saw that in the beginning, and then I start realizing that he's not doing it because he doesn't want to talk to me. It is his nature. And then I took the initiative to talk to him. Through that, our relation became better than before and became more closer to each other, yeah.
I think every couple has tensions, you know. Every couple has arguments. You know, there's no two people will see things the same way exactly.
We're trying to get closer to each other. We accept each other as we are. I'm not gonna try to change him. He's not gonna try to change me. So we're trying to come to a middle ground. Friendship and relationship, it's very hard, but the more you work on it, you will discover the gold underneath all the thing.
Every relationship needs bandwidth for the not-so-good moments. Crankiness, a needly comment, an abrasive style when you're not well rested. We can't be perfectly connected all the time. And we need the simple ability to repair rifts that arise from these missteps or jangled energies.
So it was 1980, and I was dating somebody, and we went to a house party.
It was a dinner party. Susie walked in, and friends that were around said that we started talking like we had known each other like through eternity. Then I stalked you somehow, I forget. Then we literally ran into each other a couple times in
I
the
was
valley.
moving into an apartment, and all of a sudden I'm unloading things from my car, and I hear this, this car backs up. Hi. So,
Hi, what are you doing?
can I help? So I put her to work.
Got together almost immediately then, because that was, when did we actually move in together? We met in November,
We moved in
and then it
together
was
April Fool's Day.
April Fool's Day, which
81.
we're quite proud of. And then we
Decided to have kids.
decided to have kids, which was a huge move. We did tons of therapy and introspection and studying on.
One day she would want to, and then I wouldn't. It's like, no, maybe we should hold off on this. And then I finally came around, and then she's, no, well, let's just talk about it a little bit more.
Well, we were really concerned. There wasn't data, there weren't enough families, and we weren't sure what the impact of being gay would be on the kids. And we were, we were at a place where the business was doing fairly well. We were fairly comfortable. It was a big change. So it was, do we really want to do this?
There's a strength in you know what? There's a strength in comfortableness isn't really quite the word I'm going for. I'm looking for a stronger word, but knowing that that person is also going to be there through it with you, and that I think has helped us whenever we've gone through changes, whether as a couple or individually. My role has changed through the years. Chris has always been the driven one, work-wise, and had the opportunity to make a lot more money than I could. And so we decided early on, okay, cool, I'm more the nurturer with the kids, and I cook great meals and, ice cream. And that worked, really, really well. And then as I started, getting closer to menopause and all that sort of stuff, and then the kids started graduating and going to college.
She'd been the home mom 24/7. I had like a much lighter version of it. And in the same period of time, my dad had a rapid dementia escalation and passed away. Her mom passed away. Buddy, our big, wonderful dog, passed
Border
away.
Collie, yeah.
We literally lost.
We sold the house and sized down and all the stuff. When things get hard, you soldier on. You work through it. You get to the other side, and you get to the growth that's on the other side of that, and that. Again, I think deepens the relationship, deepens your understanding of the other person and yourself. Because how can you grow? Well, you can grow by yourself, but there's a richness in growing and going through that with another person.
Having kids really is a chance if you're conscious to, and I guess that's the key. But to reparent yourself and relive some of these things. And I've had a lot, I feel like because we both had sort of damaged or certainly emotionally challenged backgrounds, we've been able to recreate almost our childhoods as our kids have grown. So, that was a side benefit of having kids that I never thought of.
It's kind of like you know who your ally is, right? And you're in it together,
I think it forged maybe a stronger bond than it would have been otherwise.
Sometimes there are darker clouds on the horizon, and it takes us time to learn we can fly into the storm, because we'll help each other ride it out. We build a shared courage and confidence that says, we will not be divided by our conflict and our struggle. We will stand together, stronger and more bold from our shared effort.
Back in the day, Wendy and I were both pretty much taller than everyone else. And
the apex of the Asian gene pool.
fairly tall for Asians. And went to a dance and I saw Wendy. She was a good head taller than everyone else. Is like, I met her in her sophomore year, and by the time senior year worked out, other guys had narrowed down, and I was the last guy left. And I had a futon and a motorcycle, and a degree in poetry from UC Santa Cruz, and figured what more could a girl want than that?
Because we had met when we were so young, I think we just expected change. We expected each other to change and grow up. I had started to invest in real estate, and unfortunately one of the deals ended up being a Ponzi scheme. And so we were about to lose a lot of money, and even going to lose a lot more money because investors were still putting in money. One of the things that he did say was, just let it go, don't throw good money after bad, and, we're still young, that we can recover. Could have been an easy blame. I think his easygoingness, it really offsets my hyper control.
Wendy certainly takes things, very serious about everything, and I don't. And, we had different, we went to the same school. We had, I think we had a lot of similarities, but we also had a lot of fundamental differences that we kind of recognized that, she had her energy and interest on things, and I had energy and interest on things, that, and that's why I think it's worked for us. We both had our own areas of growth, and I think, really try to encourage her on the things that she's interested in. And she tolerates my golf.
Even when the hurt's not intended, we still have to deal with it.
Sometimes it happens for us to realize that we need to put our lives together differently. We begin by making it through the struggle of this moment in time.
It's a wake-up call. Will we be able to repair, to heal?
Sometimes things need to break apart to break open. We gather the full meaning of the brokenness looking back on a life lived together.
And the meaning comes from what we grew in those broken places. But we don't usually know where to start.
One of the best things is the power of apology. Apology is something that is a very important phenomena in human relations.
I used to fight with him, for example, and don't talk to him for a week. He doesn't talk to me for 2 weeks, and now we don't. In the same times, we fight with each other, and after 5 minutes, just get over it.
She yells at me. She yells at me and scares me.
I do not yell. I tell him to do a lot of stuff.
Frightens me.
You know, in my mind, it's just something that needs to be done.
We have things that we have to accept with each other. Like Cynthia not answering her cell phone, and I'm like on the phone all the time, and I'm like, I try and reach her about something, I can't reach her all day, it bothers me, and I have to
then we have an argument.
Give her that space.
It's very important that if there's something you want or need or is important to you, you need to tell the other person ahead of time, because they can't read your mind.
When you've got stuff going on with you, if you don't let them know, they're doomed to fail anyway. The relationship you have with them is doomed to fail.
I want to be heard and you want to be heard, and then we try to find common ground. And somehow we're at a point where now I think we certainly don't tiptoe around each other, but I really don't want anything, I don't want anybody humoring me. I just want authenticity.
I think you use the word apology. I apologize for the language I used or the way I acted or whatever it may have been. Even if you don't think that you were wrong, by making an apology, you reset the button of the relationship, and that's important.
For a while, when I used to do my activity, he used to get upset with me. I'm going out of the house all the time, I'm doing things, and that was one of the tension, that I'm paying too much attention to my activities, helping the community, involved in politics, and later on he became part of what I'm doing. So that's really make us very close, mentally very close. Now we have something in common, we can talk about, we can participate in. So I think that really make our relation very, very strong.
You just say yes to things when it seems possible and reasonable, and if there's more than enough reason to say yes, just say yes to stuff. She's got stuff to do and join a board or go to New York and do a thing. It's like, okay, let's, work it out. Seems a lot easier just to say yes, and if things get in the way, we deal with it.
What was that thing that happened when the kids were little and we all ended up on the end of the bed crying? Somebody hit somebody, or it was just so revealing about the way now as a family we solve problems.
Well, it's a unit. You come together and you have a discussion about stuff, and if you're wrong, you say, I'm sorry.
There's been a lot of loss in our lives in terms of close friends and people we've been influenced by and very close to. So we also are in agreement that, time is valuable, and, it's short, and, it's important to be able to appreciate the time that you have. That's very important to us, and not to be able to take everything so seriously, because it's not that serious.
And that's another form of our survival, I think, is being able to have a sense of humor about it.
He's a calming person, he's a fun person, he's always laughing, he's always making jokes about, sometimes too much.
I don't know when to stop. I think no matter how serious is the problem or the subject you deal with, and some of them are very serious, if you can find humor into it, it makes life so much easier. Because you're going to deal with the problems anyway, so why to deal with them upset? You can deal with them in a good mood.
My secret to a happy marriage is a sense of humor and a short memory.
Man, if we hadn't had a sense of humor and learned to laugh at ourselves, it would have made things harder to deal with.
We often talk about that now because we're so grateful after all these years to still be together, because the shared narrative is just fantastic. There's a richness to having 30 or 40 years of memories that I think is just irreplaceable.
Yeah.
It can feel so tenuous and vulnerable when we are out of sync in bigger, more significant ways and can't seem to find each other. When we are younger and haven't built confidence and resilience, we can get thrown further apart because of what our fears do to us, make it too scary to turn toward and reach for our partner. Young couples who gather the courage to reveal themselves and be vulnerable, and who fight for the relationship, begin weaving the strongest of safety nets to catch them when trouble comes in the future.
Part of our longevity is that we have independence, so we have two totally different separate lives, and then we have our lives together. You know, as much as I love him, as much as I love my kids, I would never want to be with them like 24/7. You know, it's just not a realistic expectation.
We can handle it. Yeah. We agree with that.
So my life, it was always activism. And he is the opposite. You know, it was in the beginning a clash between us, but I realized that later on I do what I want to do, and in the same times I don't have to take from his time to, you know, for what I'm doing.
For me, I'm one of those people who take a long time to make up my mind about, you know, is this the right way to go or that right way to go. We've obviously at some points had arguments, you know, about different things, especially about the social butterfly, because I'm like, what's the opposite of a social butterfly? A moth. A moth, right?
A moth. That's very good.
A moth. That part was not easy to get adjusted to, but I saw how people reacted to her, you know, and it, you know, it made me popular because she was popular.
We were in France traveling with all three kids, and we were in the southwest part of France, and we were taking a train back to Paris, and we were doing a sleeper train, and everything was all nice, and we missed the train. And leading up to missing the train, I think we were talking about what we were going to do when we got back, whatever it was. And I had my idea, he had his. To me, we're in France. It didn't matter. No, there was no such thing as who's right. And he all of a sudden said, okay, yeah, you're always right. You're just right. You're so right. And it was like daggers being thrown at me. And I was so upset and so hurt that I remember laying in bed and wrapping up, taking a shower, laying in bed and wrapping up and saying, I wonder if I should check on getting a divorce now. Because I can get someone who speaks French. I could have a French lawyer. I want to be divorced now. Right this minute, I'm done. And it was so intense for me.
I don't even remember this.
And it took a long time. So when we missed the train and all the stuff that went wrong the next day, that was the first and last time that I said, I can't let this bother me. Those are his words. You're always right. That's his words. So when he does it now, I just shut it down and say, if I'm right, I'm right. If I'm not trying to be right. And I've learned to preface sentences with, I may not be right about this,
but that's not
but
true.
Blah, blah, blah. And that's another form of our survival, I think, is being able to have a sense of humor about it.
We have a lot of humor.
Yeah,
we laugh
a lot of humor.
We have a really good time together, laughing about a lot of things.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, some of the most horrible things eventually become
They have to
become humorous.
Stories like these are grown over time. More than made or make-believe, these stories tell tales of love, disappointment, surprise, and discovery. The journey these couples followed led them to a lasting love, one that can't be found in a manual or a formula. These are stories of how two people found more life together through their quest to be true to their values, ideals, others, and even themselves.
I kind of road tested Cynthia pretty well because I put her through some serious changes, you know, because I had some different priorities when we were together and for a long time. You know, I liked being in the street. I liked staying up all night. I liked, you know, being in my dark corners of life. And, you know, sometimes, you know, I would come home at 5:30 in the morning and be gone all day. And I mean, that was some pretty challenging times. And I actually enjoyed them. And they were costly. They were costly in terms of health. They were challenging to our relationship. They weren't the best example. And I mean, That was just something I had to do.
I don't think I said this, but I should say it because it's a huge compliment and it's a very real one. John's a good person, and that's it.
I mean, we're individuals, and we recognize that and try to give each other space to maintain that. Doesn't always work, but I've had to really learn how to do that because my role has changed through the years.
We're trying to do things together, but also I have things I'm gonna do without him. And I learn one lesson: I never involve him in things that he doesn't want to involve in. And actually it became very enriching for both of us, because I have things to do, he has things to do, and we come together, we exchange ideas, we exchange things which is exciting, we have different perspective, so we became more and more closer mentally, and we enjoy each other's company more than before.
I'm a bit of a recluse, okay? And there's a proverb in Arabic, okay, which goes, Ishhannat min ghair nas ma btindas. Simply translated is
paradise.
Paradise without people, you wouldn't want to go there.
Appreciation, I think, is huge too. And when he sees that I'm appreciative of the stuff that he does, he'll want to do it more, and I appreciate it more. And that's where harmony comes in.
We have commonality of values, which is very important for avoiding disputes. We never had issues about whether the children should be raised one way or another. We raised them with the values we think are, that we employ in our own lives.
In the expected and the unexpected, the tragedy and the triumph, their journeys have led these couples to find something more, the unshakable reality of a love that is time-tested, one that has grown deeper and richer than either could have imagined.
What I think John and I do is we do the seesaw effect. The things he worries about, I don't. The things I worry about, he doesn't. We sort of take care of each other, and that's emotionally speaking. So if we're having a money problem, and I say to John, the mortgage is due, the car is broken, the blah blah, Migo needs a bath from the vet, and do a whole thing, then once I give it to him, and that's his big thing he has to take care of, there's no need for me to be up here with him, because that literally does no good.
Well, either he forgets or he may just purposely just decide to drop it, right?
I guess I'm getting the feeling that you. It's interesting to consider that she should be more understanding about my thoughts and how to properly negotiate that instead of just telling me what to do, overpowering me.
One of the strengths of our relationship is that we allow each other the freedom that each other needs.
We have such high respect for each other and understanding, and and even when it comes to behind closed doors, the understanding of what we want and what we don't want, and that's so important. That's so important. He wouldn't ask me to do something that I wouldn't be comfortable, or the other way around. And
you need to work on it, and you need to do things which are fun. And when I say to work, it's not something that you have to do. Things that you want to do.
David is a perfect foil for me because he doesn't really fight back in the same kind of emotional terms that I would fight about. I mean, I don't remember what I was fighting about. You didn't put your clothes away, some stupid thing.
She thinks I'm passive aggressive.
Do I?
These couples have a confidence in the face of that uncertainty, founded in how they stand together for each other, one for another. Lasting love finds courage in challenge, and celebration in accomplishment, but most of all in an unmistakable trust. The uncertainty of what lies ahead still poses challenges partners must face.
Each effort to tend to an old wound keeps the healing going. Replace the scars with layers of love.
Sometimes all it takes is to find the other's eyes and to feel your togetherness. You see more when you're not alone. You're together and you can look around, gather perspective, find time to look to each other and to be seen. It's good to be seen, to be known. It's a bright thread in the weaving of a lasting love. Partners feel more alive, more free to be the person they are, flaws and all.
Honestly, we bring our individuality to the relationship, and I can't speak for Chris, I can only speak for myself, but I've gotten clearer about who I am and what makes me tick and who I want to be and what I want to do and all that sort of stuff. And I think Chris has kind of always known that, so that was kind of a cool thing for me to experience that, oh, somebody can do that, that's interesting.
When you marry, somebody of the opposite sex or even the same sex, okay, you're not just marrying that person, you're marrying their history and their background and their family and their relatives, Today you're marrying, this beautiful young woman or this handsome young man, as in our case, and then later on you begin to realize, well, I've also married my mother-in-law and my father-in-law and my brother-in-law and sister-in-law.
We look at our parent. Even if they don't tell us anything, they set the example for us. They're thinking about their problem and they're thinking about their feeling, and they forget that the kids, they pick that and they copy them in their relationship in the future.
My mother and father were married for a long time, and I think that was a model for me. So once you're married, you're always married. That's the way I perceived of it.
Thank God Mom was always around. You got the message as more family-oriented was very important, and if he's gonna have some free time, we need to split that up. He's gotta give me some time to go out and do my own thing a little bit, go shopping, and he's gotta be with the kids. So that's the balance. And you know what it is? You don't recognize that you're jealous of that. That's what it is.
You're upset and you don't know why.
You're upset that he's having a good time, and really what it is, you're jealous that he's having a good time and you're not.
Put your spouse first, above your kids. Your spouse is number one, your kids is number two, then is your parents, your work, and your friend. This is the priorities of a healthy relationship.
Over the journey of a lifetime, partners will not always keep pace with one another. The rhythms of love will fall in and out of sync. Differences with disappointment can divide. Yet, they also present possibilities to find something new, to dig deeper within, to make an exquisite discovery. Love asks the questions. Can we reach out and cue each other when the distance feels too great? Can we find our way back to each other?
It's really useful to find the right person and then stick like glue.
Yes.
No matter what happens.
I never saw getting into a relationship as something where, okay, these are things I need to change in this person. So I always looked at it as, this is who this person is. This is what I need to do to live with this person.
Yeah. When she's upset about something, I take it to heart because I always want her happy. But at the same time, I am going to say what I want to say, and one thing we've never let any argument or disagreement linger for days, in fact for hours or not.
Like, it's so beautiful that sexual intimacy really creates this closeness for us that we're not creating through other ways, especially if we're tense. To have more conversation,
I got you.
it's not helpful necessarily.
Yeah.
I mean, we can talk about what's stressing me out or whatever, but it just like makes us feel like one team. And I really got that it's not that you're like just loving me for my body or anything like that. I get it. It's so relational. It's so relational.
Though I am loving your body.
Thank you.
Oh, she was so hot. She still is.
He's my hero.
I don't think he can walk by without touching or holding or giving me a hug and a kiss.
No, I'm all over Miriam all the time. That's true, by your hand. To the point it makes our kids uncomfortable.
That's true.
Which does not bother me a bit. And they know it. And that's all I have to say.
And you look like it's just terrible for you.
Oh, it's horrible.
And I was going to ask you, you know, you said you miss, as a caretaker, you miss being able, being able to do that. And how did you feel, when I was sick, that part of you, was that kind of more fulfilled because you were able to take care of me?
Yeah, I felt like you'd been taking care of me for so long. I felt good about being able to take care of you.
I was really sick for a year, and Herman was unbelievably supportive, took it so hard that he lost about 30 pounds. I don't want to have to get sick again to have him lose 30 pounds.
So these kind of conversations where we would disagree,
right,
and we'd be uncomfortable with it, I think in the past would really hurt us, and we get hurt and they could intensify and escalate, and I think now we could a lot of the time smile about it and not get hurt about it.
Would you say that? Yeah. We're too old to argue anymore. No, we resolved a lot of that.
He's become more and more and more and more of my best friend.
I thought I was always your best friend.
You were, it's more and more and more.